You'll need a US size N13 or 9mm crochet hook, a pair of scissors, some measuring tape, about 88 yards of your primary color or whichever colors you're going to use the most, and then you need about 44 yards of your secondary color. You'll also need a sewing needle. So the yarn I'm using for this project is Tuff Puff from crochet.com, and the color is Canary and Pucker. And when I saw these colors, I said, yeah, these are the least two colors you'd expect to go together, and I'm going to put them together. And these are 100% wool and super bulky weight. Right now on crochet.com, as of the filming date of this video, they're 20% off and have until February 28th to snag that sale. Got some yarn mail. Got a couple more skeins of the Heatherly in Juice Box. I think that I'm gonna make like a cute cardigan with this, so I'm gonna accumulate them till I get like maybe 4 or 6. I don't really know. After having a baby, I haven't exactly lost the baby weight yet, so I'm gonna make a cardigan to fit the size I am now. So I don't know. And then I got some Tuff Puff, guys. Look at these beautiful colors, and I'm definitely gonna combine these two colors to make a hat, which you saw in the thumbnail. So that's what we're gonna do. Actually, I'm gonna use this one. I made a swatch with this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and use that one. And this one is gonna be the first color that I use. So I already did the math. The math is 2 stitches equal 1 inch and 2 rows equal 1 inch. We need this thing to be 12 inches long and 22 inches unstretched in width. So that means, okay, this is future me. Past me was about to get into some complicated math with the rows and the stitches and the gauge and all that stuff. We don't need to do that because I got you. So what we're going to do is chain. I'm thinking about knitting. We're going to chain 25 stitches, right? So 25 stitches is going to give us 12 inches, and then we're going to work those for 38 rows. 38 rows gives us a hat that is 17 inches relaxed and 24 inches stretched. If you need more space, you can try your hat on by putting it around your head, seeing how you feel about that. You can add more rows, take away rows, however you would like. But for the hat I have, the standard head is 22 inches. So for the hat I have, it's 24 inches. So we are going to chain 7 of our secondary color. This is our secondary color. I know we're working it first, but it is our secondary color. You're going to make a chain of 7, which should be 3 inches. It depends on your tension, but with this yarn gauge, 7 stitches should equal 3 inches. Once you have 7 stitches of your secondary color, you're going to go ahead and add your primary color. You're going to connect it whichever way you feel comfortable connecting your primary color. And you're going to chain 18 stitches in your primary color, giving you a total of 25 stitches. Once you have your 25 stitches chained, chain 1 and go through the back loop only, going down using single crochets. Okay, so to do a proper color switch, you're going to go through with the color you're working with, go through the loop, pull through once, then bring that yarn towards you and finalize that stitch with your new color. So it'll look like that. And then you go ahead and continue working. And then I'm gonna continue working my stitches with the color that I've switched to, which is the yellow. So we're gonna chain 1, turn your work, and do your single crochets through the back loop only. Of each stitch with their respective colors. Work each stitch back loop only until you have 3 stitches left on your row. Have our 3 stitches left. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work, and then we're going to work through the back loop only with our single crochets, going back down. And we did leave those 3 stitches unworked on purpose. Work until you reach where we left off here before we left those 3 stitches unworked. Meet me back at that last stitch we did work. All right, so we are at that last stitch. We're gonna go ahead and work that, and then we are going to go through that turning chain there, and then we're gonna go up and catch the next stitch here, and then we're gonna pull our yarn through all 3 of those. Chain 1, turn your work, and go back down again, and we will meet back up once we reach our next step. Alright, so we are at our last stitch here. Gonna go ahead and do that single crochet, then we're gonna pick up that turning chain and go right through all 3. And then you're just going to chain 1, turn your work, and then go right back down the entire row as you normally would. Do a proper color switch. You're going to go through with the color you're working with, go through the loop, pull through once, then bring that yarn towards you, and finalize that stitch with your new color. So it'll look like that. And then you go ahead and continue working. For this next row, we're gonna restart. We've already finished that row. We are going to work our back loops until we have 3 stitches left. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1 and turn your work, and then go ahead and work those steps again that we did on the previous row. So I'll do this again with you. So go ahead and work your row, and I'll meet you once we get back here, back up to the step here. So we're going to go through that last stitch there, and we're going to go through our turning chain, and then go through our next stitch. Pull through all 3, chain 1. I worked this pattern 4 times with the 3 unworked stitches, and then for the last one I left 2 stitches unworked because I tried my hat on, like I held it up to my head and I saw that it was fitting. It just needed a little more space. So you can always try your hat on as you go. If you need to work a full segment of it with the 3 unworked stitches, do that. And my hat measured 17 inches relaxed, but it stretched to 25 inches when I did pull it. So just keep that in mind. All right, so my hat is just about 17 inches. It's a little over 17 inches, but when it's stretched, it goes to about 24 inches, which is... It goes to 25.5 inches when it's stretched, which is exactly what we're looking for. So if you are using this type of yarn, you're probably good to stop at about 17.5 inches. If you aren't using the type of yarn that I'm using, like if you're just using an acrylic chunky yarn, just make sure you measure correctly so that your hat fits you comfortably, okay? And with that measurement, we're going to go ahead and sew her up. All right, so we're going to start from the top down when sewing. and you want to cut a long enough tail so that you can sew across the top and then down the seam. So using our primary color, because that's the one we're going to be sewing with first, we're going to sew down our seam until we reach the second color with our primary color. Hopefully this will fit through here. It should though. Oh, it does. Okay. So I'm gonna go through just weaving in and out of the top, or just weaving in and out of the crown. So right now you want to make sure your hat is on the side that you deem the right side. So that's whichever side is the best looking side for you. I kind of like how this side looks, but then this little piece here worries me. Let me see. Okay, yeah, this is my outside. So I'm going to flip it over and I'm just going to pull it through there like that and close up the crown. And then you're going to fasten your you're going to put your yarn through the other side to fasten it and like close it off. There you go. And how I'm going to sew up my seam is just by going into the side of this stitch here, like that. Guys, chunky yarn is never fun to sew with, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Make sure you hold that. Make sure you pull that taut so that you don't get a big gaping hole. Right? Then you're gonna go in to the side of the next stitch. This is just how I sew it up. You can use your favorite sewing method. And what I'm doing, I'm just going behind the stitches that we made. This is the stitch. I'm going right behind, and where we just put the yarn through, I'm gonna go back into that stitch and come out of the stitch in front of it and then sew that up. And then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. I'm gonna go back into the stitch we already sewn in, use it to go through, and come back out of the other side. Go ahead and sew until you reach your secondary color, and you're going to stop right here before you sew into the other color. Okay, so if you are following the same sewing the seam that I'm doing, you're going to have to flip your hat. And the reason we're doing that is because this part of the hat is our outside. This part of the brim is going to flip, and this is going to be the outside. So we're going to sew it like we did the pink part, but Hey girl, you ashy. My bad, y'all. Alright. So we're just gonna go ahead and do the same thing. Alright, so we have that part sewn up. We can go ahead and you can secure it in any way that you like. I'm just gonna go through there, and I'm gonna go back on the inside, and I'm going to weave that in. Yeah, Spooky. I know. All right, and we also want to go ahead and grab that primary color because we do need to weave that in. So we're gonna just grab it, pull it to the back here. And at this point, if your tail is still like incredibly long, you can just cut it. So I noticed that the top of mine opened up despite my efforts. So we're gonna go ahead and close that up. And I'm just gonna take the yarn that I was already using and just sew it up. It's probably easier for me to go back around it. I'm gonna close that. I think I'm gonna tie it. This yarn is just a little slippery, which some wools this chunky are. Some yarn this chunky actually. Very slippery. Okay. And I'm gonna go ahead and sew in. There you have it, your chunky quick workup hat. All right, let's try it on. But she's beautiful. She's candy colored. I love the colors that I chose actually. And at first when I was looking at it after I completed it, I'm like, oh, she's a little bulky. But now with it on, it fits so nice. I'm so in love with this hat. I think it's completely adorable. It's fun. The colors are fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up as well as subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video.